friends, it's Emily with burlapkitchen.com, and today we're going to make something really fun with a Dollar Tree crate. So I have a whole bunch of these, and my mom said that I needed to get rid of some. So I'm going to start doing some crafts with them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some jumbo of the jumbo giant popsicle sticks, and we're going to go ahead and stain them. You'll see me using 6 here, but we're actually going to need 7 altogether. So I am using Minwax in the color Dark Walnut. It's my favorite color to stain with. And I always get questions, why do you stain before you paint? Because I like the way that it looks when you go to sand it off. So I'm just going to stain the crate here, and make sure you wear gloves with this or the stain will be on your hands for at least 2 weeks. So make sure to wear a good pair of gloves. So we're just staining the crate. You don't need to get down inside the crate because you're not even going to see that. So I'm going to give it a quick dry, and always make sure you stain in a well-ventilated area. I'm going to give these a quick dry. I would recommend staining the day before and then letting it dry overnight. So then we're going to match these up. So I'm just going to lay my crate over top of it, kind of see how I want everything to look. And then I'm going to trim my sticks down on the bottom a little bit because they were a little bit longer than what I wanted them to be. And then I'm going to trim another popsicle stick down for the bottom to hold everything off, or hold everything together. And then you'll see I'll go back and get another one. That's where that 7th popsicle stick came in hand. So I'm going to glue that to the back because the top was a little flimsy. So I'm just going to glue that back there and then give that a quick little stain. So I'm going to give it a dry here. And then I am going to use some white chalk paint. You're going to need probably 2 coats of paint. I used 2 coats of paint for this, and I just got white chalk paint from, I want to say Walmart. So I always get it in the quarts, so because I use it so often. So it's a good thing to keep in your craft stash. So we're just going to give this a few coats of paint here and make sure it's nice and dry. And then I'm going to paint the bottom real quick. Then we're going to come over here to our little popsicle sticks, and you can see how I kind of glued them together uneven. Like I was kind of thinking like had like white picket fence type thing in my head. So I wanted it to look sort of like a fence. Now there was a little spot. I glued another piece of a popsicle stick there because my popsicle sticks were kind of bumping out some, and that just kind of straightened everything up and held it together a little bit better. So I'm going to give this 2 coats of paint also. Front and back. I usually say a stained back is a finished back, but for this one I'm gonna go ahead and paint that. Then, sorry, I'm getting a phone call while I'm doing my voiceover. Then I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to sand really well. I want to sand it real good in between where each popsicle stick meets, just so you can really, so it really kind of like defines those where it meets there, if that makes sense, so it looks more like a fence. And then I'm going to go over my little crate here with the sanding block, and I'm going to do that real well. Now I'm using kind of a sanding block and one of those little yellow sanders. They both work great. They're just both they're both not very new, so I need to get new ones. So that's why I was using 2. So then I'm going to glue my crate to my popsicle sticks. And then I'm going to cut down some foam from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to cut it down to fit. And the crate that I'm using is actually the larger crate from Dollar Tree. They usually have 2 different sizes. So I'm using the larger crate. And I'm going to grab this sign that I got at Dollar Tree. And I'm just taking the pumpkin off. I'll use the sign for something else, for another craft. So don't throw that away. We're just going to use the pumpkin for this project. If you find some of the wood pumpkins, you could use those too. So if you take bright orange, I think it was jack-o'-lantern orange what I used, and just 1 little dot of black is all you need. And it will really dull down your orange and give you like a nice sort of more rustic country look color. So that's what I did for this. And I did need to coat this like, I want to say like 4 times. I don't know why, but I definitely needed to coat it. Make sure you sand it first. And then you'll want to give it 4 coats of paint. And that's just so that warding don't come through. I did paint the stem brown, but I'm going to change that up here in a bit. Then I have these flowers. These came from Walmart. And I'm just going to cut them down. I'm only going to need 3 pieces. I always grab these flowers when I see them because I use them for so many different projects. I'm going to stuff some greenery in there. I am not a florist, so if you're better than or want to do this a different way, go for it. Because like I said, I'm not a florist. And you might be better at doing this than what I actually am. So I'm just going to add some green in there. And then I'm going to grab a piece of paper. This is just brown construction paper. And actually, I think it's called craft paper. I just cut a triangle. I folded it in 4. That way, when I cut the triangles out, they're all the same size. And then I'm going to write fall. And I'm using an ultra fine Sharpie. The ultra fine point, they work fantastic for writing stuff like this, and like snowman noses, scarecrow mouths, things like that. Or snowman mouths, scarecrow mouths, that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these. I always glue the first and the last one on, or I try to. That kind of just helps me adjust the spacing accordingly so everything fits nice and even. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on the top there, and I just glued it on some twine. I'm going to put a knot on the end, and then I just glued the paper down, the paper tag that we made, or banner. And then I'm going to glue the twine. I'm going to put a little knot here, and then I'm going to glue it on the back. So the knot just helps me to give a little bit of leverage here for the glue to stick, and so I don't burn my hand so bad. So I'm going to press that down. Then I'm going to come over here. I cut the stem off of the pumpkin, and then I'm going to add my own stem. And then what I'm going to do is make a little raffia bow. And I was having a little trouble. This raffia was really weird. It wasn't really, it was almost like straw. It was real hard to work with. So I just put that bow down, and then I glued my pumpkin in place. You guys know I had to add some Spanish moss. So I stuffed that all around, and I wanted to add a candle, but I didn't think it looked right. But now looking at it, I think maybe it did. So let me know what you think. Should I add the candle back? And then you have a really super simple fall project. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. For more fun ideas just like this, please visit burlappekitchen.com. Thank you.